Okay.
All right, so welcome to Oneness Talk Radio and Intuitive You, how to heal and create a life you desire. And I'm so happy to be here. It's just such an honor. And I have with us the productions coordinator at Oneness Talk Radio. And Bria is not just an amazing friend. Welcome, Bria. She really manages the whole center down there in Ecuador. And we were just talking about the synchronicities of how when you follow your intuition, life becomes magical. It feels magical, but really it's just divine alignment and us following our intuitions for the greater expansion of ourselves, of our soul purpose, and uplifting each other. So Bria, before we go any further, I'd love for you just to introduce yourself and welcome to the show with us.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here with you and on your first show. This is so exciting. And yeah, so I'm Bria Rose, and I'm here as the on-site guest services coordinator at Tosa Blue Mountain Retreat Center, where Abby is going to have a retreat with us next year. And I'm also the production coordinator for Oneness Talk Radio. And yeah, and I just love that we're here together, and that, speaking of synchronicities, I mean, ever since you came into our lives, I mean, so much has expanded and grown together, and it's just such an exciting journey and it's just going to keep unfolding and continuing.
So beautiful. I love it. I love it. And I'm just so grateful everybody that's watching this show right now too, because I always feel just an infinite connection to everyone through my heart and your heart. So feeling our connection to that infinite love. And Bria reminded me before we decided to go live just to put my hand on my heart and just remember, what does my heart say? And I invite everybody to do that right now, just to take a moment to pause, take a deep breath, place your hands on your heart, and just start to let your heart speak to you and feel that connection, and really let love move you. Let your intuition start to move you. And Bria has an amazing story. And Bria, I'm going to ask you to please speak as loud as you can, because I'm noticing the volume is pretty quiet on your end. But I know she actually followed her intuition to Ecuador. And I was sharing when I first met her, I left a scholarship and started a company. I thought that was really cool. And then she tells me her story, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like she rode a bike like all the way to another country. So Bria, I would love for you to share like how you felt intuitively prompted, because I know we all have this. And to me, intuition is our soul embodied, right? It's that inner knowing, that nudge, that there's something greater coming through us as this expression of love. So when we listen to it, like I said, synchronicities happen, we feel amazing, we start moving in alignment. So Bria, I would love to share how that started, how you started feeling your intuition, and then you took action on it, right? And here you are living your dream.
Yeah, well, thank you for asking. And yeah, I grew up in a spiritual family, but I was very resistant to it as a teenager. We would talk about intuition and, be at the breakfast table interpreting our dreams and things like that. But as a teenager, I was like, I just want to be successful. I want to be driven. I want to, have my own business. And I was just so motivated to go, 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 go. To the point where in college, I was, just getting, I couldn't just get an A. It had to be like 100%, everything. I was really hard on myself and working, doing all these things. So in other words, I was not connected to my intuition, my body, my feelings. I was more connected to just the model, the existing model that we grow up with of this is how you become successful. But it wasn't my truth. It wasn't my truth. But the gift of all that, so working really hard and I burnt out pretty young at 25. And I ended up developing an autoimmune disease. And it's a shock, right? When you're 25, you graduate college and you're like, oh my God, I have an autoimmune disease. But it ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me, I think. One of the best things, because it is the beginning the marker of when I made the choice to really start listening to myself, start listening to my intuition and my body too, and really get clear on, okay, what is it? What is the life of my dreams? What does success look like for me personally? Because it's going to look different for everyone. What success is.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the beginning of really what shifted for me and got me on the path of healing, of just not only healing myself, physically healing the autoimmune that was in my thyroid, but really got me thinking, the connection between physical manifestation of an illness and how that happens. And for me personally, it was about beliefs, the beliefs I had about my truth and not following it, right? So it makes perfect sense. And so it was really the beginning of a profound and beautiful and challenging and exciting healing journey and following intuition. Yeah.
So beautiful. I love that. And that really is what the show is about, is following your intuition for greater healing. And I love that you bring up our bodies, right? So our bodies are constantly giving us information. And then it's our job to listen and hear what it's telling us and then redirect. So for me, I mean, you're not the first person I've talked to that's experienced some physical thing where it's kind of woken them up to their next level of awareness. And to me, it's your intuition, kind of like a bud coming up from the earth, right? Saying, hey, I'm trying to emerge, right? And I might be bombarded with beliefs or conditionings or things with life, but deep down, I know there's something really powerful and beautiful to share. And so when you give yourself the courage, on my banner, it's the courage to live your dreams, right? It's courage to actually trust your intuition. Yeah. And I know from what you said earlier, you took your bike to another country. So sometimes it can feel so extreme, I'm being guided to move and it's oh my goodness, I wasn't planning, I guess I kind of was planning. And that's where I was actually thinking when you talk about intention. So your intuition will actually support you as your best friend and guide to actually manifest your intention. So I was laying in bed last night, I told you I hardly slept. And I was okay, here's the deal. Anything that is truly from your heart of pure love, I'm pretty much convinced, as long as it's initiated and maintained by self, meaning you are self-sustaining, right? You're in connection with the universe. When you have a pure intention of love, I have yet to not have that happen in my life and to watch clients and people around the world do that, because love is the most powerful energy. And so when you're connected to your intuition, you are connected to the source of love within you. And then you start attracting all these amazing experiences and people. So my invitation for everybody listening is to place your hand on your heart, feel your heart. It's the first step. It's the gateway to your intuition. Then drop your awareness. You can take your other hand and put it on your belly, a couple inches below your belly button. That gut feeling that moves you, that propels you forward, is like that best friend, hand in hand with your intention. So I'm a lot like you, Bria. It's okay, I gotta be really good at everything, do it. And it's okay, you want to excel and succeed in business, great. That's your intention. You're living it now. You followed your intuition to living that. So whatever your intention is, and if you want to take your hand off your heart and your gut, that's fine, because you have the connection, right? As long as you have your intention and your intuition activate, you're going to be guided. And the third step is action. So it's I started my company, I was 19, and I had a teacher, actually, Janice Erickson, who's going to be on the show next week. So excited. And I walked into the office of the school and she's like, what's your mission and your vision? And I let that drive me. To me, that's the deepest level of your intention. It brings tears to my eyes, because my intention was to serve people. I loved people so much. And I was I want to have a wellness center. And she's like, great. And I'm I think I want to teach next door at the School of Healing Arts. She's like, great. I put in a resume and I kind of thought it was a joke. Have you guys ever done that? You do something, you're I don't really think this is going to happen, but I'm going to try it. So I like put this resume in. They called me like a year later, could you please teach business at our school? I'm like, sure, you know? And then it's like, will you have your own certification program? Sure. So my point is, like, as you say yes to your intuition, the people start lining up. Like, you take the path where love has paved the way before you. And as you listen, you take action, things happen, they manifest. And you can say manifest is a spiritual term. Okay, it's also very practical in the sense that, like, you know, my mom used to say, like, I thought, you know, you have a thought that's like energetic before physical, right? So this desk that I put my hand on, there was a thought that somebody had about creating a desk before it happened. They took the thought, they built the desk, and they probably sold it, right? Yeah. So everything starts in energy. And when it's rooted in love and it's that pure intention, you will be guided, you will serve, and you will undoubtedly live the life of your dreams. Like, it's amazing and so much fun.
Yeah, no, right. Because, you know, I was
taking a walk. Can you
yeah, I was taking a walk this morning outside in nature, and I live right next to a river as well. And I was just noticing how nature is in flow.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't grow in lines. It doesn't grow like in, you know, these boxes, right? It's in flow. It's just like a river. And that's how energy is. And like the universe, in my experience, is just infinitely abundant. And we are of nature, and flow is just a natural law, I think, for us in our experience. But what blocks that infinite energy and infinite abundance is our own resistance often, right? It's like our own fears or a belief we might have. And so being open to it, being open to the love as you're sharing, it allows that natural flow in, and it's just, it keeps coming in and in and in, and people show up that are just exactly right for what we're dreaming or what we're moving towards. And it might not be, you know, the exact time that our mind had envisioned, or it might not look exactly how our mind wanted it to look, but when we're open, it's even better than we imagined, right? It's like, even, you know, like my spiritual teachers say, Shri and Kira, who I live with as well, they say it's like, it's better than you could have even dreamed. When we choose to say yes, and when we choose to keep trusting ourselves despite, you know, the fears that might come up, because they'll come up, you know, they'll come up, but
totally. And it's normal, you know, like the fears are normal. And it's like, I was walking by the river too, because I still live by the river right now, the ocean soon, but it was such a beautiful moment because my body was being moved. I usually go for really long runs, and my body, because you and I both have been going like 100 miles a minute at the speed of love we talk about. And I turned around, I started walking down the river. There's this beautiful boat, and there's this man rowing. And I was like, the childhood song came, like, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Life has been a dream. Merrily, 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 life has been a dream. And I was like, oh my God, like, it was this appreciation of life and also the flow. Exactly what you're talking about. Like, the stream is going, just get in the boat. The fears might come up. There's going to be some rapids, but like, get in the boat. You got cool people on the boat with you. The river's really beautiful. The sun is shining. And flow, you know. And the intuitive success coaching process that I teach, and everybody can find out more at lifeforceconnection.com, and you can schedule intro sessions with our coaches or myself. And we deal with these blocks and resistance, right? Because we all have them. I have them. Bree is sharing that. As we go to the next level, it is kind of scary to see that rapid. And it's like that belief, oh my gosh, can I do it? Can I get through this rapid, right? And of course the answer is yes. And you have a life jacket on, you're totally fine, you know, but it's like to trust that there is ways to repattern our brains where you actually have a new thought and a new emotion that creates a new belief that supports you. So the dreams are real for a reason. And I remember the first retreat we did in Thailand, Bria, I created these journals for our students because I basically said in it, if you have dreamed it, that is yours to fulfill. And it's kind of like the desk analogy, right? Like if you're thinking it, that's for you to do. If it's rooted in that pure love, there is a way for that to happen. And so, whether you're working with us or, anybody to actually connect with that place within you that knows the truth, to release the resistance and have those new beliefs start to support you, and I'd love for you to share an experience where you were able to start to transform those beliefs. And I'm seeing an image of that bike, right? Like, can you share a little bit about how you took that action, you broke through your internal beliefs, and you said yes to your intuition? I would love to hear, like, start to finish, like how that bike ride went.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really begins when I was I was on my healing journey. I was healing myself, and I was up against my beliefs about what success looked like. And I was really honest with myself. And I said, I deserve to do what really brings me joy. What is that? And for me, at that time, I had always loved farms, organic farms. I grew up in the suburbs, and my grandparents lived out in the country, and I loved being out in the country. I loved being with the animals. And I just decided, that despite, all the fears of like, what about money? What about my life? And I decided to volunteer on farms, and for free rent and free food, and it was a work exchange, and I did that for a couple of years. So all that while, I was having this pull of, I love the US, I love California, but something's not right here. Like, everyone's speaking English. I don't feel at home exactly, it just always felt like home was somewhere else. I've always had that knowing. And I was like, okay, well, that's interesting. And I always kept running into Spanish throughout my life, learning it here and there, and loving music from, that part of the world. And so speaking of synchronicities, as I was wondering, what is this feeling? What is this pull to go south, go south? I just found myself on a particular farm, because I was going to farms all over the country. And I just knew I just had to go there. And when I did, I met this person, a friend of mine, who was on his way biking all the way to Peru. And we had met when he was in California. And I just felt like, okay, I have a bike. I have panniers, because I had done some bike touring before, and I loved it. And I felt this is the time. I just knew I had to try and make this work and join him, and just see how it was going to unfold. So yeah, with some months of planning, getting things together, selling my things, and I headed for Mexico. But I did find myself in New Mexico before I left. And I remember those 2 weeks before I really took the plunge to leave. And I was planning on, I'm making a life. I'm making my home down there. I don't know exactly where, if it's going to be Mexico, Guatemala, or even further south, but I just know it's somewhere south. But I remember being in New Mexico before leaving and being so terrified. It was like up the whole way, my heart was like, yes, 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 yes. And then right before the moment, I was like, what am I doing?
I get it.
Right? What am I doing? But that was my mind, and I could really feel the difference of, okay, I have some fears, unknowns. I want to know how the story ends before I start the story kind of feelings. But my heart was just, I just knew it was going to be fine. And also saying yes, the resources that I needed in order to make the journey were flowing in. And and it just began with crossing the Mexico border with my bike and my bags. Like everything I owned was on my bike, which wasn't much, but and I was in Juarez, which is a really big city, and it's not easy to bike there. It's really not easy to bike. And the first confirmation, I think, from the universe that was saying, hey, this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're meant to do, was that I went on couchsurfing.com to find someone to stay with, because we liked doing that. We liked staying with local people. And the very first one on that website was a man who not only loves bikes, but he's like a bicycle activist for the city, and he owned a bike shop, and stay with me and I'll help Juarez to the train station. And we're talking like 4 miles through one of the busiest cities in the world. There's many, and without his guidance, biking us there to the train station and showing us all the shortcuts, showing us the safest routes, telling us everything we needed to know, I don't know how we would have done it, but it was just that first, like, okay, this is right. And here you go. Here is this perfect person for you to initiate your journey. And yeah, I just kept, I biked and bussed my way down and found myself eventually in Guatemala at Lake Atitlan, where my teachers, who I live with now, lived for many years. They lived many years there. And so being guided there and ending up there for as long as I was there for 5 months, but it felt like 5 years, the amount of growth and energy and things that came forward and healing. And I know this, if I had not spent the time there, I would not have been ready, I think, to do what I'm doing now, to be in Ecuador and to be living with my beautiful teachers who I'm so grateful for. But yeah, it was quite a journey of saying yes and yes again and yes again, and having fears come up, but just trusting that it was all going to flow.
Yeah. And I know you're so happy there, because I've had the privilege of being able to talk to you so often recently, and you're so happy where you live and what you do and the energy that you're in, and that really is the joy, right? Like you wanted to have that joy and you manifested that. So it's not just the external things, it's how you feel. And there was a few things that you mentioned that I feel are so important, as you kept saying you were being pulled down south. And that was also my experience of, I actually had a scholarship at a school in LA, and I was being pulled down to San Diego. It was the same experience, like a magnet, where your intuition starts to pull you towards something, like a literal gravitational pull. Like you feel your gut and your body moving you in a direction. And I really recommend you listening to that. Like Bria did and like I did. I mean, what that led to for me is I started to practice within, I think, like a year in San Diego, in La Jolla, like left the scholarship, and the dean of the college was like, you crazy? Like, what are you doing? And I was like, maybe, but it feels right. And, I ended up like gifting a lot of things to people, and it was so beautiful. Like, I'm so glad I did, because I do what I love and work with amazing people. So, my point is, it's like, as you follow that, it grows, and then it moved into a wellness center and an international certification school now. Like, it's going to evolve you as you keep saying yes. And so I feel like, any of you listening, that when you're starting to feel that nudge, if you can take that little step, and sometimes it is terrifying, because, if you actually look up the definition of intuition in the dictionary, it's beyond intellectual understanding. So that's why maybe it feels like you're going, quote unquote, crazy. It's really your mind trying to like catch up with your heart and be like, oh my goodness, like I know something. Again, I feel myself putting my hand in my heart. Like my heart knows something that my mind is still trying to understand. And I would tell my clients that too when they left the office. I'd be like, yeah, don't even try to figure it out. Like they'd feel amazing and all these, incomes would double and they'd be happy and all this stuff. And relationships, they'd try to figure it out. Your mind, your conscious mind will not be able to figure it out, but your heart knows. And so if you trust that, and Brie, I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, but it's just giving everybody examples, of that, and just hopefully to support you in trusting yourself more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, trusting ourselves, we know, our soul knows exactly what we want to do, but the gift and the challenge of, unraveling our different, or discerning the difference between what is our mind and what is our heart. And yeah, I just, when I was in Guatemala, and I remember being there on the lake and just not really knowing at all, like what my future was going to hold. And I was, not sure about my resources, like what I was going to do. And I just knew, like, and I had this nudge to email my teacher's assistant and ask, hey, I know there's an event coming up, like, do you all need a volunteer? And because I felt like it was time to meet them in person, because I'd been following their work for years. And I thought, okay, let's just see, like, and I'd love to do it as a volunteer. And so they said yes, like, come down. And so I kind of hopped from Guatemala to Ecuador, and then I just stayed. I just stayed after that. But so it did all really work out, and it brought me to exactly what I know I'm meant to be doing right now.
Yeah.
And it's definitely, if you had asked me some years ago, okay, where are you going to be a few years from now, I would have never guessed, because where's the fun in that? Where's the fun in knowing how it's all going to end? But the fun and the challenge of saying yes and keep saying yes moment to moment is going to lead you, as you're saying, it leads you to, greater trust in your own process. And yeah, it's just
yeah. I love that you said that. And the other point that I think is so poignant is when you trust, the resources follow. So when you are truly being guided by your intuition, like I've done this with treats, my company, my whole life. I mean, I think I left with 20 bucks in my pocket when I went down to California, right? And it was like, okay, I am doing this because I'm being guided, and the resources will follow. So whatever you're saying yes to, and I know, like, when students call in and they're like, hey, I really want your program, I want to do it. If they're just saying yes, I'm like, hey, I'll work with you. Like, and that's the universe too. It's like, I will work with you. The universe will work with you. It's saying yes when you're being guided by your soul. So the biggest point I want everybody to hear, in my experience and what I've seen with just about anybody that I've ever met, is if you're trusting your heart and following your intuition in that pure intention of pure love, the resources will follow. In fact, they will probably downpour, like you will have more than enough, because again, you're in that alignment. And like you were sharing, the next person takes you to the next step, and then the next step, right? Like, and that's really all that's required, is the next step, right? Like, just take that. And like you experienced, and anybody that does, I'm pretty confident, anybody that does this, if you take that next step, you will experience the resources flowing. Even in retreat, people are like, I want to come, and then resources come in, right? I mean, it's just amazing. So it's the wholehearted yes, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The wholehearted yes, and not, and removing or looking at the resistance piece. Am I resisting, and why, and how? And surrendering to your honest truth is so important. And that's what the autoimmune condition I had in my thyroid, because I had doctors, right? They're like, it's impossible to heal. You can't take a pill every day for the rest of your life. And which isn't, it's true. It's not true. You can reverse it, and people do all the time. But yeah, that connection to what is my honest truth, and being open to what you hear, and knowing that you have your own back. No matter what the answer is, you have your own back. And just the miracles and the potential of that unfolding is just so much more amazing than we can really imagine. Has been my experience. Yeah.
It's all within you. Like, one of the philosophies of intuitive success coaching is unconditional love, non-judgment, and you have the answers within you. So I love that you say you have your own back. And as you were talking, I was literally feeling my own spine. Like, oh, that's right. Like, I do have my own back because it's in me. So every resource you need is within you, and it's about activating it, right? And like, even me, like, you can feel my throat, it's like locking up, right? So I have my resistance, and I think, like you said, we all do. And if we can move through that, and I think part of the terrifying energy that we all feel when we take that next step is we're letting go of the old. We're letting go of old patterns, and so it's evolving us into something new. And I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking about like a student who, like, after she took the course, she could start walking. Another student who like could actually see. So I have seen miracles. Like, I'm so behind you, and the belief system of we can heal ourselves. Like, it's already in us. And so what's that block, whether it's manifesting emotionally or physically, that's creating resistance for a soul's growth? And again, can we have the courage to take that step? And you say dive in or whatever it is, right? Just fly. It's almost like fly, have the courage to fly, it's like that bud open right of the flower too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fly and move at the speed of love, as we were saying.
Totally. And it's so fun. And going back to the point of like letting intuition move you. So I was talking to my partner yesterday, and we're both like, yeah, we don't really feel like going to the store. The next day I felt moved to go to the store. At that exact moment, I'm in the wine/coffee aisle. Like, sometimes I love having a glass of wine if I just get like emotional, like so much is going on. So I'm finding this like perfect wine. I look across the aisle to this woman who's these beautiful blue eyes. We have our masks on, right? Because we're going through this COVID thing. And we just look at each other and we're like, do I know you? Are you familiar? Like, I know you. And it was like this soul recognition of love. I know you, but I've never met you. I know you, but I've never met you, right?
Yeah,
but I see who you are. And so I stopped, and she had this little badge that said visiting angels. And I was like, that's fascinating. I know somebody that used to work at that company. Do you know this person? She's like, nope, I just started working there. I'm like, huh. So we continued talking, and she's like, I just went through this really hard breakup. Like, my heart is broken. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I totally understand. Like, I've been there. Like, come to my patio, just come sit, have a glass of wine. I'm talking to Oneness Talk Radio, so I got to be upstairs doing work, but come over. And she ended up coming over. So we, got the technology ready. And then, finally 2 or 3 hours later, I went down and was able to be with her. And I thought, that's the synchronicity of like, I've been that person. Like, I told her, like, I'm so alone. How are we connected? So we all know each other at that level of love. So if we can all open up to that, like our heart, we're going to lift each other up, right? And so she left at like 8:30, like so happy, like 3 hugs, like it's okay. Like, I am on path, like everything's happening as it's supposed to. And she helped me, right? Like, I was feeling nervous about the move and everything going on in my life. And so I feel like I thought to myself, like, hey, we're all kind of angels on earth if we listen to our hearts. And so I feel like, like, if that can just guide you and realize that everybody on your path isn't an accident. And they're there to show you something, and you're there to show them something. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, but I wanted to make sure I brought that up because I feel like each moment is precious, right? And like, if we can be that love and show up following our intuition. If I didn't listen to my intuition at that moment when it felt right, go to the store. And FYI, Bria, you were probably waiting for me for 30 minutes, but I knew I had to go. And so it's like, sometimes one thing's on pause for a greater thing. And there's this phrase by my kitchen that I got a long time ago, which is from a whole other story, but it basically says, you know, be a part of something greater than you. And like you said, it's going to be more beautiful than you can imagine. So if we can all surrender to that, even if we're terrified taking that next step, to really like hold hands, jump in and know like we're all in it together. And I just want to do a shout out to Shri and Kara, who have been just amazing angels on my path. So shriandkara.com, you can go there, or to Tosa Blue Mountain, which is where the retreat center is, which we're doing next March, the 12th through the 19th. And then we've already partnered with 2 orphanages in the area because that's really where my heart is. So if you want to go to oneheartglobal.co, you can join us there. And Bria, thank you for connecting us with them, and just beautiful kids. You know, I had a talk with one of them a few days ago, and the little girl's like 2 years old, already talking Spanish to me. So I was talking to my partner, like, we got to brush up on our Spanish because I learned it too in high school and was guided to that. But I'm like, man, I got to get fluent. So, but to know the language of love, you know, through our hearts is the biggest communication, but also obviously learn the language. But yeah, is there anything else you want to share, Bree?
Well, I think it's such a beautiful sharing, you know, that we're all angels, and you never know when you're going to meet an angel. It could be in the grocery store, in the wine aisle, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And how we're all mirrors for each other.
Yeah.
As well.
Totally.
And connected to that oneness, the oneness of, we're all reflections of the same energy, is what my experience has been. And to, you know, to meet others that are just such beautiful angels and there for you, like just strangers, right? But just there for each other and like instant friends. It's mirroring that energy that's within, you know, instantly. It's like, yeah, I do believe in true connection. I do believe that I can make instant friends with a stranger, you know, and believing in that reality is so beautiful. It just brings light and magic to every moment.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and I really believe it's how you are seeing life, you know, like I was talking to both my partner and Kara about this. So the perception you have, right, how you're seeing life in the moment. And then Kara was talking about, you know, we have a choice of, you know, the light or dark path. How are we seeing? And so I've had so many moments lately of again, the heart space. And as I see through that, you experience that reality. So it's kind of like, what perception are you seeing through? If you imagine like sunglasses on, like, how are you perceiving the world? Through what lens? And if you're perceiving it from love, chances are you're going to have a greater experience of love. If you're perceiving it from like lack and limitation or what you feel is wrong, then you're probably going to experience that. So just to kind of be aware of, how am I perceiving life? Where am I perceiving it from? You know, I think is a really important point. Let's see, is there anything else? I know we're going to start opening up pretty soon the live chat for callers. Let's see, what else, Bria? Is there anything else you want to share about the center, about your work there and what's happening at Tosa Blue Mountain in Ecuador? It's so cool. I love it. I always felt like we were going to be in South America. I just didn't know how.
Yeah, no, Tosa Blue Mountain is in Ecuador, in the Andes of Ecuador, is truly just an incredible crystalline energy container for miracles. We have so much going on here. And when people come for retreats, when they come for even just a weekend, or we have a whole huge group events, we just there's so much that we're doing here, from, you know, the Temescal, handmade, lovingly handmade, to San Pedro journeys, and just really setting like sacred intentions and ceremony when people come, if they so choose, and just, what is your intention for your life, for your dreams, for being here, and supporting that vision. And then, you know, we just have a brand new yoga studio now. It's just like, it's just amazing how quickly things happen, you know. And the miracle of this last week, we just had a group come from the States, and they brought with them just such sincerity, an open heart, just love. And as they came through here, we just miracles. We visited a Chopshi, which is an ancient site of the Kenyari people that are the indigenous people of this area. And the portals and the energies that were opening for all of us and the visions we were having of past lives, I mean, being there, just it unfolding and manifesting in real time was one miracle. And then beyond that, at Tosa Blue Mountain itself, we have these trails that go up the mountain and it's an easy hike and beautiful views of the whole Andes. And we were up there and realized through the activation and opening of another temple nearby, the Chopshi temple, as I just mentioned, the temple here opened up and revealed itself. So we have this ancient temple. I mean, because the walls, there are giant walls here that were covered, and there was some evidence of petroglyphs and all of these things, but the energy that came in. So, because I've been up there many times and it's absolutely beautiful. It's so beautiful. But now it's like this opening has occurred where the temple is alive. It was there physically. I mean, there's evidence, and we're revealing it and checking it out more and more as being revealed physically. But now the energy has come in, and the miracle of that, of just when you're up there, you're like, I am in a sacred container for miracle manifestation. And so that just happened this week, and it's unfolding more and more. So yeah, and we are so excited. You're going to bring your amazing group and yourself, and to hug you in person here at Tosa Blue Mountain, and also to be involved with the orphanages in this area too is a dream come true as well. I've definitely seen myself doing that work and having orphans around me. I saw it, right? But I didn't know how it was going to unfold. And then in pops Abby into our lives, and it's happening. And we're just so excited you're going to come very soon.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bria. I'm excited too, and excited for everybody part of it. And there's been so many people that have come to me saying similar things, like, I know there's something, I know I'm supposed to do it. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just kind of leading the way for what we all know we're here to do. And I shared with you, I think, like 10 or I don't know, longer years ago, how I was getting visions about working with the kids. And I feel like I felt your presence even then. And so it's kind of like that soul familiarity that we've all chosen to do this. And it's like we're reuniting and saying yes, like holding hands. And it's funny you talk about the temples. Like I have these little like pyramids in my office, and to me they hold that sacred energy. And I have like reach 1 million people with my love and intuition. And I feel like it's happening, and it's happening from that place of love. And to me, that's the greatest success. Like I remember my partner asked me that one time, like, what is success to you? And I'm like, loving people, like reaching 1 million people. And like, because I know the money follows. And so when it starts with love, like you're totally fine. But it's like, again, going back to that pureness. And when you talked about the temples, I'm like, it is alive. And those people who came last week, they did activate it. Like I said, this person in the grocery store, like she activated me, I activated her, you've activated the group, they activated you. Like there's this constant dance and interplay of love expressing in community. So I feel like, again, just to kind of wrap up on this part, like, place your hands on your heart, feel your intention, and ask your intuition to guide you, and be willing to take that next step into greater love so you can show up for us, because the world needs you. Cool, Bria. All right, love you, sister. So should we hop over to the call boards? Because just be patient, everybody. This is my first time, and Bria's been amazing with me doing this. So let's do our best to see if we can start bringing callers on. So Bria, so I just go straight to the call board, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's 9:45. So we have some people in the queue already, which is awesome. So let's see. I'm gonna go to 609. Okay. So I'm going to unmute this. Okay, all right, so we have our first caller. So if you can introduce yourself, and welcome to Intuitive You. Aw, I love you too. Hmm. Hmm. What? That's awesome. I love it. Yeah. Wow. Hmm. Hmm. Well, I love that you're following your intuition and you're having such amazing results. Thank you for sharing of all your success. That's awesome. And yeah, I'm wondering how I can help you best. I mean, grounded, that's something I work with too. So it's like just remembering the things that keep you grounded. And I think feeling lightheaded, or often my head will even start spinning. It's like, what can I do to like center in my heart, connect to love, and get grounded? So whatever that is for you, probably do more of that. But I love your share. Thank you so much. Yeah, you're welcome. Is there anything else you wanted to ask or share? Mm, 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 yeah. Mm, 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 mm. Maybe, maybe. Mm, mm. Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, what comes is just focus on the light and let the rest go, right? As you focus on the light, you'll be moved to the next level and you'll know what to do. I totally trust that based on your experience of how you've been doing that. So that's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Cool. All right. You're welcome. All right. Bye. All right, Bree. So I'm going to try to, we got a lot of people in, so let me see how I can do this. I think I might have just done, is somebody else there? I have a bunch of people muted. Um, let's see if I did this right. Okay, I'm going to try one more time. Okay, so welcome to Intuitive You. This is Abby. Can you hear me? Hey, who is this? Oh, nice to Peanuts are good. That's all good. So how can I help you? Okay. Okay. Great. Mm. Well, thank you so much for sharing. And you can email me to abby@lifeforceconnection.com. And as far as Bria, we'll work on the noise. I do want to just let you know that it's very cool that you tuned in and you felt the frequency even beyond words, because I know she admits such a beautiful feeling of love. So I think that's absolutely beautiful. So glad that you could still receive our vibes, and we will work on that sound. Thank you so much for sharing. Thanks, sweetie. All right, talk to you later. All right, so we have our next caller. I think this is Lee Culver Richards. So welcome to Intuitive You. How can I help you, love? Oh. So what can I do for you, love? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we'll look at the we'll look at the technology piece. It might be possible if you called in earlier at like 9 that the show wasn't broadcast if you called into that number, because the phone lines didn't open till 9:45. But we will absolutely look into that. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Okay. Well, we will look into that for sure. I know it's a lot of technology on their end, so they're totally doing the best they can. So we will definitely look into that. But thank you so much for letting us know, Lee. Awesome. Thank you for our feedback. Thank you. You know, I'm actually going to have to move to the next caller, but if you go to lifeforceconnection.com, you can find out about me. But for the show, go to onenesstalkradio.com and we will absolutely figure out whatever technology glitch was. And then email me if you have any other questions. I totally can. Abby@lifeforce. You're welcome. Thanks. Thanks, love. Love you too. Bye. All right, so we have our next caller and welcome to Intuitive You. This is Abby. Hello, how's it going? Hey. Hey, Donovan. This is my partner, everybody. He came on air. What's your question, love? Beautiful. Yep. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Donovan. I sorry to interrupt you, love, but I think if somehow you guys called the number, because like Donovan said, if you go to onenesstalkradio.com at 9, it's streaming live. So it should be like that every Monday at 9. So yeah, we'll check if anybody didn't send an email, but thanks, love. All right, I'm ready for you. Great question. So I think probably take a moment to close your eyes and actually bring your awareness to your heart. Feel your heart. Don't just think it, but feel where it's connected to where it's guiding you, and kind of like we did, put our hands on our heart, and then feel and bring your awareness into your gut and notice where it's pulling, where it's nudging you, and then take the action. So it's pretty much the same as what we shared on the show. Just do it. You know, and as you know, you follow your intuition too. It's just like a moment, you know, and like sometimes you don't always know what's going to happen, but you know it's the right thing to do. So yeah, super helpful. Thank you. Cool. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, love. Texting. Okay, bye. Okay, I think we have another person here. Can you hear me? This is Abby. Jonathan, I love you. So this is, can I just share a little bit? This is one of my amazing clients. I adore him. He's so awesome. He's so connected. And this is one of those people, like I said in the grocery store, like connected on this higher love of just like the love frequency. So what you got? Keep us, Jonathan. Yeah. 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 Yeah, I'd love to interview you on the show sometime, but I'm wondering, is there like a kind of 2-minute version you could offer people in your own experience of how you're able to transform that and what you learned about following your intuition? Yeah. Yeah, and Jonathan, the word to me comes like transformation. Does that resonate as like kind of transforming that old energy into the new? Wow. I love that. I love that. I've been like flying with a butterfly lately. Every time I go outside, the butterfly represents transformation. And it's like, okay, what's evolving to the next level? So I'm just, yeah, so happy for your share and so grateful you're here. Yeah, doing your work and sharing your love. So thank you for showing up, Jonathan. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. To trust yourself more. You're welcome. Thank you, Jonathan. You're awesome. Talk to you soon. All right, Bria, so I'm just going to hop back over to you because I know we're wrapping up, and so grateful you're here. I know I kind of wondered about the noise, but like I said, I know your vibration is so strong. They still felt your love and they still felt the vibration. So we'll figure out the technology, and it sounds like some people had some trouble accessing it, but also people were able to send, so I'm not worried. So for everyone listening, please tell your friends and family. We're here every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific. It'll be myself or another guest. I'd love to have Bria back on, but she has so much to do in her life and her world. Bria, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience before we log off today?
Just want to say thank you for tuning in, and we're just so excited to have you, Abby, and Intuitive You on Oneness Talk Radio, and just so much love to everybody listening.
All right. Take care, everybody. Namaste. Love you.
Namaste.
Bye.
Bye.